I'm just going to wait for it to load onto YouTube. Make sure the sound is okay and it's in HD. Okay, great. So there's always a bit of lag when uploading onto YouTube, streaming with OBS, but it seems to work well. Perfect. Okay, hey, hello everyone. My name is Ching. I'm trying to build a startup live, building a SaaS website, and today we're going to be working on the engineering roadmap. Yeah, so my goal, just to restate something that I should be restating every time I start, my goal is to finish building a SaaS business, just the MVP, the minimum viable product, by October 11th. So that will be about a month since I started. And so we haven't started with any of the engineering stuff yet. I haven't built anything yet, but we've worked through a lot of the things that I think we need to go through when starting a SaaS product. So just to kind of go through what we've already been through, we went through a business plan. We built a business plan. We did a wireframe and a user flow of what this product is going to be. We designed this product on Sketch already, and we built a landing page describing what this product's going to do. Just to refresh everyone's memory, if you haven't been following along, what I'm trying to build is a different way to organize your GitHub issues and present them to non-developers or present them to people that don't use GitHub. So yeah, so I had designed something on Sketch where you can just kind of drag and drop your GitHub issues into different groups or different views that you create, and then hopefully use that to help you communicate your current project status with non-GitHub users. Okay. So we've kind of covered quite a bit already, and now I think we've already kind of sketched out all of our what's it called our features that we're going to have for the MVP. And let me just pull up my sketch file here and share that with you guys. Okay, so it's over here. Good. So just to kind of recap, because I think this will help in today's session, the product is going to start off with, it will actually start off with a landing page, which we've already designed on Webflow. And if you want to, once you're invited in, once you're kind of signed up for the wait list and invited to come try it out, then you're going to be taken to this sort of first sign-in page. And maybe we'll call this sign-in, the path to be signed in. And you're going to have to connect with GitHub and create an account with GitHub. Not with GitHub, but create an account with us using your GitHub account. I mentioned before that for now I'm not even going to allow for you to create an account with your email address. You have to connect with GitHub. That's the only way. Maybe just to keep it easy. I don't know if that'll make things easy or make things difficult, but hopefully it'll keep things easy. After you connect with GitHub, you go through the GitHub OAuth flow, your authentication flow, then you kind of landed onto this first page here. And as part of this OAuth flow, you have to choose a repository to connect to. And then in that repository, you're going to have a list of issues. And maybe we should also think about if you don't have any issues in that bucket. And so with those issues, it's going to show up in this issue bucket, kind of at the bottom here. And you're going to be able to create views, what I call views for now. And so if you create a view, you're going to name the view. It's going to go to this page. You can name the view. Let's see, actually, if we can use a preview here. Yeah. So create a view, and then you have a view here. We call this view priority issues, for example. And then you can just drag and drop your issues in here. The purpose of this is so that you can group issues in different ways so that you can communicate them to your clients a little bit better. So for example, if you want to show all the issues that you think are priority, you can list them here. And they very well could be all the issues that have a label called priority that you've already labeled them properly. So just drag and drop all your priority issues there. But say, for example, you also want to show them the issues that you've completed in the last 2 weeks. So maybe create another view, and then you drag a bunch of issues to show that you've completed these issues, and all these issues might be closed, for example. issues might also be priority issues. And so they can be in both views at the same time. Unlike Kanban boards, which is what they use on GitHub and on ZenHub, you can only have issues in one bucket at a time. Here I'm allowing you to have it in multiple views, in multiple buckets. And that's sort of my killer feature, if you will. Obviously, it's not much of a killer feature, but that's sort of what I wanted when I was working on my previous project, so I'm just building it for myself and using this opportunity as an exercise to build a website and build a SaaS product. Okay, so you can create a view, you can drag your views here. Let's see, I can click here. So yeah, we have a couple views here. And I also had, let's see, I have to organize this sketchboard a little bit better, but I also had a user drop-down menu here, and where you can have your user settings. So drop down, and you can go to my subscription, my plans, you get feedback, which should just be an email for now, and then log out. Yeah. You can also click into one of these issues here, and it will give you a list. It will give you a page that kind of describes the whole issue. And this is just copy and pasted from GitHub. This is what a GitHub issue looks like. And at the bottom, there will be a link that says view issue on github.com. So you can go to issue.com and github.com to edit the issue there. Actually, while I'm here, actually maybe I want to add a text that says something like go to github.com to edit the issue. It's all white, so let's change that into primary, and let's obviously decrease that. Let's use 312. It actually should be a grayish. It doesn't need to be bold, maybe just regular. And let's put in the middle, and let's kind of widen it out. And we'll just put in the middle there. Let's center line it. Okay. So yeah, go to github.com to edit the issue. Okay, we can change the wording a little bit later, but that's basically what this button does. So you can't edit anything about the issue here. You can just view all the properties. And you view all the properties, and you have to go to github.com to edit them. Once you edit them, you come back, then it should be able to show you all the issues. Okay. We also have a plans page, so we've got to create this plans page. And we have a premium plan that we're offering. So we'll also need to build in this functionality for premium users only. Okay, so the goal of today is actually to think through what we're going to have to program or what we're going to have to build, and maybe potentially put them all onto GitHub as issues. My buddy Patrick was saying this is a bit meta in that I'm trying to build something on top of GitHub, yet I'm still going back to GitHub to manage all my project. It's true, because this product doesn't exist yet. So, okay. So I'm wondering how I'm going to do this. I'm going to see if I can try and keep this to an hour. I have my write-up here, and so some of the questions that I want to be answering is, how is our code going to be structured? What components are we going to be building? How will we deploy the website? Where and when are we hosting the website? What our database design is going to be like? How are we going to do authentication? And then maybe a few other questions that will pop up. So there's a lot of programming specific, like building the product kind of technical stuff that we need to go over, as well as sort of all the deployment stuff, or the, I guess you call it DevOps stuff that goes around the application as well. So maybe let's separate this out. We'll call this product engineering, and then we also have one called DevOps engineering. DevOps, which is called DevOps. Okay, so let's create some headings for this. So the code for our product, we're going to put that in there, and then we're also going to bring this up here and kind of, so these all fall under DevOps. Okay. So maybe let's think about DevOps first, and let's think about our structure. So generally, I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to be, I had a little discussion with Patrick on this already, so these are some of my notes. So maybe let's bring this to the top. So the language we're going to be using mostly is React, so JavaScript and React, because it's something that I've already worked with, and I want to continue using it. I like using it quite a bit. Let's see. I don't know if this structure makes sense, but let's just do this for now. So we're going to use React for the front end. Okay. I think it's great for dynamic interactions, and it's great for quick development. I just use it because I know how to use React. I have experience with it. Now, so the React is going to kind of deal with all of this stuff on the front end. Yeah, it's going to be dealing with the CSS part, the interactions, and sending requests from the browser, from the client side. But those requests are going to have to go somewhere. And initially I was thinking about using Node.js and building a web server from there. But I was also leaning toward using AWS Amplify for a couple other things, especially for the database and API gateway, maybe for authentication if that works with Github, analytics and so forth. So it's sort of like higher level package that can help you manage a lot of your apps. I've used it a bit before, and I would like to continue using it and learning how to use it some more. I'm not that great at it yet, and I think this would be a good opportunity to try. And if you use AWS Amplify, then actually that might take away the need for a separate web server. Because the web server kind of serves as a couple different. It has a couple different purposes. So let me just list these out. So if you have a web server, what you need for it is you need maybe a server to what's it called, to provide your website, to host your website. So that means that so I have a domain already. My domain is called what is it called? getme.com. getme.com. If you go to getme.com with a web server, then what it's going to do is it's going to point to the web server, and it's going to go to port 80, and that means port 80 then it's going to serve up the React files that I'm building here, and so it's going to provide you that website. And then once you have the website in your browser, then as you interact with the website, it's going to have to send more network requests back to the server, and that server is going to have to handle various requests. And we'll call these API requests. And with these API requests, generally what it's going to be doing is actually passing those requests back to another service, whether it be maybe, say, database stuff. So for example, creating a new database entry. Or it could be authenticating with GitHub API, GitHub OAuth, sorry, to help sign you in. What else? Maybe dealing with analytics, hosting analytics. So that's not an API request, but something else. And a couple other things. But actually, if you think about it, all this stuff is done with AWS Amplify and Firebase also. Firebase is also a good one. I haven't used Firebase before, so I'm not going to jump into it, but let me just pull up the AWS Amplify page for you so we can take a look at it together. So just like Firebase from Google, and it kind of gives you all these services kind of built in with a CLI where you can manage all this stuff. All you have to do is include an amplify.yaml or amplify.json file in your project, and it will help you configure all this stuff for you. they can each also help you build a static web hosting service. So that covers all this stuff for Node.js. So that's why instead of going for a Node.js, I think maybe we'll go with AWS Amplify. Yeah. So let's take this out and let's put in AWS Amplify for database, for API gateway, authentication with Github, if possible. I haven't thought about analytics, but analytics in the future, and web hosting. Okay, so AWS Amplify should be able to do all that stuff for me. Okay, so I'm going to move this down. We'll call this the appendix. And why would we consider a web server? Okay, so we kind of just fold that up. Okay, so so we have a database. It's going to be a relational database. Because what we're going to need to store is, for example, our views. So let's see, maybe let's list out what the tables are going to look like in the database. We're going a bit out of order, but since I'm here, I'm just going to talk through this. So let's just look at our app here. This issue bucket, when we pull up all the issues from a repository, actually this is a simple GET request to the GitHub API. Yeah. I'm just going to pull up Postman and see if I can show you guys. And so we don't need to save any of this information onto a database. But what we will need to save is actually, if we drag an issue into a view, then we want to save that a view contains which issues. Yeah. So maybe we'll need a table that is called views. So it's just going to be row by row a list of views. And for each view, it's going to have a list of issues. So maybe we'll have to have another issues table. Okay. So it's going to say, so maybe sort of like the columns that we need is name, ID, of course. Let's start with ID, name, and ID issues. Okay. And then here we're going to have ID also. We're going to have maybe the repository name. And also the ID views, because it's connected to views. It's going to be a one-to-many relationship. So one view can have many issues. Actually, maybe it's many-to-many, because actually also each issue can also be in multiple views. And it's good that we thought this out. So actually we need a views issues table if we're going to have a many-to-many relationship. So actually this should be ID views issues, and this should also be ID views issues then. Okay, so ID, and this will connect the two, ID issues and ID views, and that's it. Okay, this ID for issues, unfortunately, will have to be different than the GitHub ID. So actually we're going to save the GitHub ID as well. And the GitHub ID is sort of this number here that you see in the issues. So each issue, as well as PR, will have a unique ID number, but only unique to that repository. So if you have different repositories, then you're going to have different GitHub IDs. Or should I actually have another table called repositories? Maybe that's too redundant. I don't think I need that yet. I think these are basically the key items that we need for now, because all this other data, we don't want to be storing redundant data that GitHub is already storing. So we want to rely on GitHub's database. So if there's a title for this issue, for example, we just want to refer to the title that's saved on GitHub. We don't want to save this on our own database. I believe that's the right way. That way it's not redundant. You don't have to manage like conflicts and so forth. Okay, so you can drag this in here. I'm wondering if we also need to have a users table. What will we store? I don't know. Oh, obviously, I guess we have to store it in relation to the views. So maybe we need ID and then ID user. No, sorry, ID views. So each user can have multiple views. Yeah, okay. Let's highlight this. I don't know. It's our highlight section. Okay. Okay. That's generally the database. So we're talking about high level stuff, and then we said we're going to use AWS Amplify, and then we're going to use database in there. And then we started going very deep down to a very low level thinking of what we need. But I think this is sort of helpful. Just kind of think through. And so let's back out a little bit again. So we have databases, API gateway. How is this going to be structured? I'm not sure. I think once we come to this, then we'll dig into it a little bit more. I'm not sure how API gateway is used. I think this is done in relation to the database. I think it's kind of one and the same. But let's see, because I've never used that part on Amplify before as well. Authentication with GitHub. We're going to have to create an app with GitHub. Okay. Let's back this out. Let's make this another section here. So we need to create an app with GitHub, and we're going to need to clarify the scopes required. I'm going to take out analytics for now. Web hosting. Use CI/CD with GitHub. So I think what we want is to try to save all of our work through Git and on GitHub. And every time I save my project and I'm ready to publish it to the web, then I run it through a continuous integration or continuous development flow where it will automatically build the package and then be hosted on my website. So the latest updates will be on the website as soon as I save to GitHub. That will kind of streamline the publication of updates. So this is also done with AWS Amplify. Okay. I think that's sort of all I need to think about for AWS Amplify. It kind of covers a lot of the backend stuff. Let's see. Oh, sorry. Yes, actually, I was only looking this up, but let's look through the rest of this document and see what else we need. So for users, for example, we also need to see what plan they're on, or what subscription plan. Are they on the free plan? So this could be either free or premium. I think that's the name of it. Okay. Let's see, what other database stuff do we need? So we can, we need a name for the view. Yes, we already have that. Name, view, okay, ID. We can have multiple views, issues, yes. You can edit the name of the view. You can delete the view, yes, okay, with our database. Update the view name, okay. Plans, yes, okay. Okay, good. And anything else up here is the modals. Update view name, confirm, delete view, yes. View templates. Okay, yeah, actually that's it. And so I think we actually have a very simple database. So we said we're going to have a users table, and we're going to have plans connected to the users. There's a bunch of data that's around the plan as well. And that information is going to be stored on Stripe. So we're going to use Stripe for integration. So for payment, sorry. So let's actually create another thing here. Oops, sorry. Cut in the middle of it. Let's bring this back up. Okay. So all of our data about our plans will be stored on Stripe. It's not going to be stored on our database here. we will only just link a user with their maybe the Stripe ID, huh? And so actually it will be Stripe. It will be the Stripe ID is called the cuss ID. We call it the cuss ID. Can I backtick this to make it look like code? Yes, I can. Okay, cool. Actually, I can do that with everything here. Don't need to do that. It's too redundant. Okay, cool. Okay. So for how we deploy the website, we're going to use, let's dig into this a little bit, CI/CD with GitHub. I think let's pull up this page here. Okay, I think it's AWS Amplify Console. Yes. This is all we need. We just need static. And so they have, and so you can work on features on GitHub. Set up your domain. We are the bot domain. Connect your repository, and every time you push, then it will build it. It uses their CDN. You can go back to an older version if your latest version has some bugs. And so we just have to connect with GitHub, configure build settings, and then deploy the app. Okay. Yes. So we're going to use, what is this called? Static web hosting. So we'll call it Amplify Static Web Hosting with GitHub. So we'll put it on GitHub. Okay. Where and how are we hosting the website? Again, we're hosting it on GitHub with Amplify Static Web Hosting, which has CI/CD built in. CI/CD CDNs, content delivery networks. What else? Domain setup and atomic deployments. I'm just copying whatever's here. Okay. So we've answered this. We've answered this. Well, a database design do you like? Actually, we've answered this. In terms of which database, I don't know. I think Amplify chooses one for you. Let's see. They have data store, authentication, storage. This is storage. I think storage is their S3. No, I don't need this. I think what we're talking about is this here, API. GraphQL and REST endpoints to access, manipulate, and combine data from one or more data sources. Yes, okay, so they use DynamoDB maybe. Okay, yeah, so maybe they use DynamoDB. I don't know what that is. I think it's just an AWS service. Okay. How will we implement authentication? I think that's very tricky. So let's just pull up GitHub OAuth. I was looking at this page earlier. We want to follow this guideline here. So I think we want to create an OAuth app. Let me just browse through this and see if we can do this. Okay. So settings, developer settings, OAuth apps. So we create an app. Yes. Create an application name, homepage URL, application description. Okay. Authorization callback URL. Type of callback URL of your app. Good. restricted application. Good. Okay. So this kind of reminds me that maybe I should also design the routes. So let's do that actually. I think this will be proper. Let's turn this into H2. Okay. So we do H3 with this one, routes. So we're going to have one that's just, this is just index, and this one will go to, let's put in the code here. Okay. This one will go to, goes to our index, which is our landing page that we built on Webflow. And let's do sign. Is it login? I like login better. Do login and sign in. This goes to our GitHub authentication page. Okay. And maybe let's call it dashboard. Goes to our main page that looks like this. Let's have one that's called plans. That looks like this. Let's see here. Yes. Okay. Perfect. And so, for example, now that we kind of have that laid out, we only have 4 main routes. They're very simple and basic. Any complications from here, we can add get query parameters to kind of customize the route a little bit. So for example, if we want to have a route for this specific issue that pops up, maybe we can have something like a query that looks like this. Let's see. Slash repository equals test repository, and issue equals issue ID equals 3. Yeah. So that way, this will be. How do I get this out of the code thing? Over here. Let me do this whole thing as code. Code. Yes. So this could be like a route to a specific issue. Yeah. Plans, login. This one can also have get query parameters that says whether it succeeded or failed. And so status can be either success or failed or error. Let's say error. Okay. Be success or error. Okay. Great. Oh, yeah, we also need to have one for a user, right? Because what happens? We have these user buttons. My subscription. I think if you click on this, this goes to your Stripe checkout page. So we don't need a route for that because it's actually hosted on stripe.com. Plans goes to the plans page, which we have. Give feedback is just an email, and log out. Log out will take you back to the index. Now that I'm thinking about it, if you log out, So right now what we have is we're going to have a waiting list. Maybe let's talk about this. And with the wait list, we only have your email. Should I be asking for the GitHub username instead? Maybe that makes more sense. Is there a function that kind of reminds me? I want to come back to this. Sure, remind me tomorrow. Okay. Here's another one I want to think about this a little bit later as well. Maybe tomorrow. Yes. Okay. Cool. I just want to sit on this thing and then maybe come back to it tomorrow. So on the waitlist, we only have your email. Once we have sort of the product ready a little bit and we want to start bringing people in, then let's call it waitlist. Okay. Okay. So this means then actually, before on my landing page, let me pull that up. I didn't have any button to go to the dashboard because I thought maybe I'll give them a different link. But actually, I think we should have a button to sign in. Get me. Okay. So, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, instead of sign up for the waitlist here, maybe there should be a GitHub authentication button and authenticate with GitHub. This will take a while. This will take a couple days for me to do. So maybe for now, we'll just enter your GitHub username. Okay. So let me do this actually. Yeah. So okay, let me think about this a little bit more. Okay. Landing page. I have a to-do here. I want to create another button. So what I want to do is create another button that says maybe sign in. I want a button that goes to the login page. So maybe we'll just create a login button. Top right. The login and sign up for the newsletter, I'm sorry, sign up for the waitlist is going to have sort of the same functionality. It's going to both ask you to authenticate with GitHub. And if you're not on the shortlist, then you're just going to be going to the waitlist page. So let's do a to-do here. This will be just a simple page that says, hey, sorry, you're still on the waitlist. Okay. Okay. So landing page, I still need to actually also create image assets describing what the product does. So in my other video session, I had kind of drawn these out here. Let's see if I think it's under 3A. So we kind of drew out some diagrams that I want to present on the landing page here, something like this here. So I still have to do that in Sketch. Okay. Okay, so initially I was thinking about putting all this onto GitHub, but right now I think I'm already fleshing this out here, so that's fine. I think we should keep on moving forward. So we talked about the roots of the website. I think that's kind of nice to flesh out. We talked about the waitlist a little bit. We're going to have some functionality. So let's write down what I was talking about and slowly shortlist people by GitHub username to test out project. Okay. Good. Landing page, create a login button on the top right. Yes, create image assets. Okay, good. Let's see. So again, we're using React. There's some questions like, should I use Webpack or should I use TypeScript and so forth? I think we'll be using Webpack, I think. I'm going to avoid TypeScript this time because I had a lot of trouble with it last time, and I spent a lot of my time was just spent troubleshooting TypeScript itself. And it does add a bit of complication. So, my answer to this is no. For Webpack, I don't know, I'm going to see if I can use create React app. Which will get you started with a quick React app first, and I think a Webpack should be included. We should be including this. Webpack will just help parse your ES6 JavaScript language to something that's readable in the browser, and it will also help minimize your app so it loads faster. Okay. Okay. What components are we building? Let's answer these questions here. Okay, maybe actually let's break this down to a section. Components. Okay. So we need a view component, so let's walk through this here. Okay, we'll need I think we want the logo on the top left of each page. So maybe we'll need a layout folder. Maybe we call this folder structure. This is of the actual code itself. Yeah. And so we'll have inside components, and within the components folder, we have this and this. We also have a layout folder. It's called layouts. And let's call this one dashboard, because in here then this will include just sort of the main thing that will always have a logo up there. Okay, so we'll need to have a header component that will just be this top part, including the logo, and then something is also including user settings. Maybe let's have one that's called user menu. Okay. We're going to need to have a drop down menu with some items in there. We're going to have this bucket, this issues bucket. We have individual cards. We're going to have a issues detail for this thing here. Let's see. We're going to want to put in the Gaussian blur. How do I structure that? I don't know. We're going to have a plans page, so maybe we'll have another section that's called pages, and then this one will also put dashboard. Or the main dashboard page will have a plans page. What other views do we have? We have a login page. Maybe we don't need the page after everything. Login, dashboard, plans, and a waitlist. Okay. I kind of picked this habit up after using Next.js, which I found to be pretty cool. Okay, we're going to have a modal, this thing here. Obviously, we're going to have buttons. So these buttons here. And these buttons. Let's see. Do I want this one? Or maybe a create view component. Like this. What else do I need? So I have the user settings up here. Okay. Oh, I also have these settings, which is the same as this drop down here. So I have this drop down, which is going to be that same thing here. Let's see. So the modal is going to include this X. It's done. Okay. We have this view done. View with the title. Okay, I think those are actually the main components that I need to build out. Layouts, we just need the dashboard layout so we can use it on each dashboard page. It's not really a dashboard page, it's just called, maybe it's just called default, because it's always going to have a logo up top. Okay, cool. Actually, so this is the folder structure of my program, the main one. There's going to be a bunch of extra stuff, like loose files, like my AWS Amplify configuration file, my Babel configuration file, my Webpack configuration file. Just stuff down there, but this is sort of the main structure. This is all within the source folder, SRC source folder. Okay. Yeah, see, these are sort of the main things. So that's how the code is going to be structured, actually. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break, bathroom break, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Hello. Let's just kind of go through this thing here again. Let's set the individual features that we need to build, the timeline, and the milestones. At the end of the session, hopefully we have a whole list of GitHub issues and milestones for our development. Good. So we kind of answer some general questions about how we're going to develop this app in terms of engineering. We talked about sort of the product, the code, the code specifically about this product. So maybe some like higher level stuff like we use Webpack and TypeScript. Maybe we'll use Webpack, whatever Create React app provides us with. We'll use, and then we talk about a folder structure just to kind of get started. Oh, since it's going to be React, we're also going to need a hooks library. So this is for whatever hooks managing state and context. Do we need another context library? Maybe a context one as well. Okay. So we have a bunch of components that we're going to build. We have a layout that we're going to build. We're going to build some pages. And then we can stuff whatever hooks and context we need in here. We've kind of laid out the routes that we're going to have for our website. Okay. So we're going to want to be able to plan for these sort of get parameters. So, like for example, for dashboard, I want to identify the repository and then the issue. So we can go to a specific issue. Plans, and then we have to create a waitlist page. Talk about the landing page, and then how are we going to deploy this website? Let's take out this language section. Okay, it's not adding anything. Okay, so we talked about continuous integration here, so I'm just going to take out this section here. We're in how are we hosting website, again with AWS Amplify, static website hosting, database, we've designed it already. Take out this question, how will we implement authentication? And yeah, okay, done. So let's turn this into, actually, I don't know, let's take that out. I have a bunch of, I need to group this a little bit better. But anyways, talk about the database, API gateway. We've kind of designed our tables already. Authentication with GitHub. So we're going to have to create a get app within GitHub. It is possible. It's just we don't know whether it's possible with AWS Amplify. You know what? Let's keep it easy. Let's keep it out of AWS Amplify. I think we can do it ourselves. But because there's a connection between the authenticated user and what they can access from the database, so we're going to have to set up some sort of what is it called? Like user restrictions. Let's make this a heading. H3. Okay. And let's also do this one as H3. Okay. So web hosting will use Amplify. Sorry, actually it should be under Amplify here. Let's put that there. Oops, what happened? Okay, good. So we're using GitHub authentication. We have to set that up, and then we're going to have Stripe. I have to set that up. My domain is called getme. getme.com. Okay. So these are things that we thought about. We thought of the web server database. Okay. Create a hello world. Build stuff. Takes all the code and serves. Yes. How can I save any database? Okay. Yes. Okay. So we thought about all these things here. Okay. Cool. we can structure this out better. So I think next step right now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create the repository on GitHub. It should be called get me. Okay. And so here we can create it together. It's going to be called get me. I'm going to be the owner of it. It's going to be a service to help manage your GitHub issues better. I need a better tagline. Okay. Add a README. Yeah, let's add a README. And yeah, we'll have git ignore. Let's take this out actually. Community license. Sure. I don't know which license is good though. Let's take out the license. We'll copy later. Okay, let's initialize this. Okay, cool. Get me. That's cute. Okay, so let's create a project board. I don't know what to call it, but let's just call it development and plan out our development cycle. Development plan. Plan out our development. Okay. I don't understand the point of this to do in progress done, especially when I'm working by myself. Maybe it's better with a team. But I guess maybe let's just start from scratch. Let's not have any columns yet. Is this even necessary, to be honest, actually? I'll just call this to you. Okay. Okay, I think we can automate some stuff. So it's like, so when you create new issues, it'll just kind of pop up here. Okay. And I think we'll have to have them done. So if an issue is closed already, then it'll automatically move here. And let's just have a column that says focus. Okay, we don't need any automations for this one. So maybe it's like if I just want to find some issues to focus on next, I'll just put them in here. Okay. So there's other tools in here. Actually, maybe I should be using ZenHub because ZenHub has a little more functionality. So let me pull it up and see if it works. It didn't work for my previous project because it was an organization and it's not free for organizations. But if I use it for this thing here, then it should be fine because it's a public non-organization repository. Um, okay, so I'm actually creating a workspace for get.me on ZenHub, and we're going to use this one repository. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So here we have some more boards. Okay. Let's just go with the standard, the default. ZenHub gives you a few more features than beyond GitHub, and ZenHub is basically sort of what I'm trying to build from scratch, in a sense, with like small minor tweaks. And if they implement this feature where you can just drag issues into multiple columns at the same time, then actually that defeats the purpose of this business. But it doesn't matter, because actually what I'm getting from building this is just some experience with live streaming, with building another app, with payment, onboarding customers. So not all is lost. And I already knew this from the beginning. So with ZenHub, you can also list out your issues and roadmaps. I think we're going to try to use this. There's something called projects and epics. I don't know what the difference is. To project or directly onto the roadmap to see work progress. Okay. So I was thinking about epics, for example, if I want to create an issue for every single one of these components. So if I want to say something like, make an issue that says something like create components. Because we have a lot of components, then actually you might want to break these out into separate issues, but you can group them together in components. I'm sorry, in epics. And actually that might be the same thing as my views. So let's try this out for now. I'm not quite sure how to do this yet. So this is my create component epic. Let's see. Okay, I don't know when we're going to be doing it yet, so I'm not going to deal with the dates. Okay. So no dependencies. Okay, add issues. Okay, so we can add issues. We can create an issue. So I'm just going to put this on the left here, and maybe let's say create view component. That's a new issue. Okay, cool. So let's just quickly add these in. Create card component. Create header component.